will help him survive the burst from Many Reason, because he has a high likelihood of getting hit with the Nether Grasp since he's right in the front line. But most importantly is that he's not really as needed for damage when you have the Vayne on the team. And in fact, that healing boost, while he has Spell Dam in his ultimate, going to give him a lot better tankiness and survivability as well.
That's a great point.
So that's a really, really cool addition. We have the same Spirit Visage on Yorick as well, which is going to help with his healing with his ghouls also. So you have this really, really tanky, magic-resistant front line that is synergizing very nicely with their abilities to kind of stay up and stay relevant.
I mean, his tier is still stacking too, so I mean, it doesn't really slow down his Seraphs really much at all.
And I love the early Alacrity enchantment on Imp's boots as well. It's giving him that positional edge with just that hair of extra movement speed where he can pull off these absolutely amazing mechanics. I mean, Imp is having a hell of a game.
Absolutely, man. I mean, he's 6-0-4. He just doesn't die anymore.
I mean, to come out and get that double kill too against Draven Fiddle, that is not easy. That is a brutal early game lane bully duo right there.
Yeah, really. I mean, it's all just a bunch of dodging. You don't really have a lot of, any really CC yourself other than maybe Condemn you can kind of count there. But
yeah, I mean, you got some with Thresh, but it was like not that much. And when you're dealing with a 3-second fear.
Yeah, not a lot in that particular fight anyway.
Right. He does have the cleanse for that, of course, but it's still really tough to deal with that. And Imp is doing a great job, and now he's just going to itemize straight into that QSS so he can never get hit by the Nether Grasp.
Yeah. Well, Dade taking a few hits from Bank, but they're going to put a little bit of pressure on that top lane 2-2 turret. Everybody coming up. They may want to dive this. It's looking more and more like it. Box is up for Thresh. He's got potentially a good target, but that turret still has a little bit too much health. Oh, we'll see. Stark getting death sentence. They don't engage.
Well, yeah, you don't want to engage on the Shen under turret. The problem here with Sieges is that the counter initiate with Glacial Prison and Taunt is so huge that MVP Ozone doesn't have the best Siege team, but they're enough ahead right now that they should be okay to group.
Yeah, it certainly seems that way. And that turret's getting lower and lower. It doesn't seem like Blast can really stop him. Stark in the back line. Seal coming in. A pretty big Glacial Prison there. Imp manages to cleanse out of it. There's a Crow Storm. Imp on the outside of the fight yet again. Many Reasons slow. Splashes ahead to try to get something done, but just not enough yet. Actually, a double kill for Many Reason, and it looks like Blast is starting to turn this one around. Mata coming in from behind. Never mind. Oh, man, Imp still staying on the back of the fight. A triple kill, though, for Many Reason. He had a good fight. That one comes out to be about even.
And that's the difference in terms of the engage as well. That was the first time that Imp got caught in Glacial Prison, and since he doesn't have that QSS yet, he had to blow his cleanse early, which puts him in a very vulnerable situation to get follow-up from Taunt and Fiddle Fear. But look at Imp's positioning again. You saw that Taunt coming out of Stark, like missed by a couple pixels right there. That's how knowledgeable this guy is about ranges of abilities. So look at this, fantastic Glacial Prison, and again, it's all about the engage with these compositions. Gets focused down immediately, and then take a look at Imp again in this fight. He really saves it, but the Malefic Vision's just kind of bouncing from person to person, giving Malzahar some really good kills. You see that miss on the taunt right there, just barely out of range.
Yeah. I mean, that was actually the second taunt that Imp dodged in that fight. In the very beginning, he after he cleansed, he immediately tumbled out of the way, too, because he knew Shen was coming in. Really, really good stuff. And, I mean, Ozone 10K ahead right now. They've got 6-2 in terms of turrets. Just...
Well, here's the thing is that, it's a 10K difference, but we saw, again, the counter engage so strong from Xenics Blast. And even with this deficit, they were able to pull out a pretty solid pushback in that team fight and stack up a bunch of kills.
Well, that's exactly the point I was going to bring up, Monte Cristo, is that it's one of those indications that in Korea, a big gold lead doesn't always mean a real game lead.
No, and it depends entirely on composition.
Yeah.
And this is, I really, everybody who watches OGN knows how much I get excited about different kinds of compositions going at each other. And this is one of those times where it's just the engage. That is what will decide these team fights effectively, and it's really, really interesting.
Yeah.
All right, well, QSS is complete for Imp right now, so he'll probably be feeling a lot better. They'll need to wait to team fight until he gets his cleanse as well, though.
They're going to go after this blue buff. They're going to get it no problem. Taking that one. A lot of good warding coming out from Mata right now. Oh, he's got to be a little bit careful. Many Reason coming in on him. There's the box, the Draven ultimate. Many Reason has to Zonia's. He's so low, though. Can he get away? No way. Dade takes the hope right out of Many Reason.
Yeah, many reason out of position right there. Not much to be said about that. He should have been. They should just let the blue buff go.
It's a bit dangerous. Now it gives him a very vulnerable spot to fight from at this mid turret.
Fortunately for Xenics, they still have a lot of that counter engage, but
oh, Ozone just bullying their way right in there. They're not afraid of this at all, man. No siege, they're just bull rushing it. Nice, and they're gonna get the inhibitor too. That's it, backing off. And just that tiny little mistake for many reasons being out of position led to that easy inhibitor for MVP Ozone.
Okay. So MVP Ozone looks like they will finally be able to push through. It's going to be really difficult for Blast to come back now from an inhib deficit just because there's a real split pushing threat from MVP Ozone as well. So they've got a lot of options in terms of how they want to approach the end of this game and actually finishing it out. Imp just going to go ahead and solo that dragon.
Yep. Not going to be losing any health from that. And it looks like Ozone, they want to engage. Will they be able to? There's Dandy coming down with their Repel on the Stark rather. Quality coming in, doesn't get to ultimate. Mana misses the death sentence. Where's Imp? He's on the outside, a little bit trapped against wall, but look at the damage coming out from Ozone. And this is what you're talking about, man. Bang has to make a run for it. Point goes down, a double kill already for Imp. Can he make a triple? Double kill though for Bang as well. It just looks like MVP Ozone will not stop. And that's going to be the ace, and that's very well going to be the game for MVP Ozone. Imp does go down at the very end.
This Yorick pick was absolutely ridiculous on this team, really showing the power of a pick that we haven't seen here in Korea in quite some time.
Wow.
And this is a classic comp too, you know. Yorick Rise Vayne is not something new. This is like a mid-season 2 composition that's making a return now, and that's going to be it. Ozone will take the first game of Champion Summer.
Yeah, that's right. Quality going to come in. They do have Boink as well. He's going to try to do what he can, but I don't think he's going to save that Nexus. There it is. There it goes. GG. And our champions from the spring season win the first game of the summer season.
And they look really good while they're doing it too.
They do indeed.
They knew exactly what they had to do to engage that team. They didn't want to get caught out, so they had to use that death sentence to create a pick on their own. A couple really good death sentences from Mata later, and they find themselves with a huge lead.
Oh man, what a great game to start things off from too. Very good. I mean, the thing is it wasn't one-sided at all. Xenics Blast looked really strong. I mean, they looked like, despite whatever happens in this series, that they are ready to play in Champions.
Absolutely.
No doubt.
I couldn't agree more with you. Well, there we go. Imp having a hell of a game.
Yeah. Wow, so impressive. A victory for MVP Ozone to start things off for Champions Summer.
Yeah, Imp didn't die until that last team fight, by the way, where he just died so he could be Yorick ulted and then come back.
It's kind of like his own little guardian angel. Figuratively and item literally, sort of. And there's Alm on your screen, playing a really great top Yorick, 6-2 and 10. Or I'm sorry, not 6-2 and 10, 5-2 and 11 that game.
Really nice play. And you have to give props to MVP Ozone. They've really found a champion pool for Alm that takes advantages of his strengths as a player and hides a lot of his weaknesses.
Indeed. Well, guys, do not go anywhere. We will be back with more Champions Summer here on OGN right after this.
Next matchup, MVP Ozone, Xenics Blast, HOT6 League of Legends Champion Summer 2013, round of 16.
Oh man, that rocket grab just like ruined my eardrums. Blitzcrank Y. Mata gets the MVP. Great Thresh play.
That's right.
Absolutely amazing.
And as we like to say here on Champions, Mata in the bank, Imp ain't easy.
That's right. True. About as bloodthirsty as they come. I like this guy. Not enough killing blows though. He needs to get better at KSing them. But honestly, it's hard to KS with Thresh. And I really feel that's something Riot needs to address.
More damage on
Thresh doesn't have enough nukes.
All right.
Riot, you listening?
They'll get on it.
Yeah, all right.
So, I mean, I have to say, very impressed with MVP Ozone's adaptations and decision-making. They realized they had to use that death sentence to engage, and Mata made the plays. And you have to remember, this is post-Thresh nerfs. He can't do the wind-up and then flash anymore. He has to flash, and he was still hitting flash death sentences. So Mata showing that he can overcome that slight change to Thresh that was made that was actually very significant when it comes to engaging his Thresh.
Yeah, I'm going to miss that too.
Still able to pull it off.
Indeed.
Still able to pull it off.
So good. So many fans in the audience today. No surprise, man. Everybody loves champions, and here we go. Picks and bans. Xenics Blast versus MVP Ozone.
And look at
game
that,
number
Yorick.
2. Goodbye, Yorick. Wow. Alas, poor Yorick. I knew you well in one game.
That's right. And Twisted Fate going down, of course, as well. And that Yorick, when you have these two players capable of really rocking the hyper carries, because it doesn't have to be Vayne and Rise. It could just as easily be Zed again with the Yorick as well.
Yeah, or it could be, I mean, Hogma rather than Imp. We've seen that before as well. There's the, wow, look at that, 3 bans against home. He's got to be happy with that. From the beginnings that this guy had champions, now to the point where he's getting 3 bans against him,
impressive.
You can tell he's loving it.
That's right. There's, of course, the Ahri ban as well. Elise slips through, will be grabbed, and there's Nunu.
Ooh,
now,
here
we didn't talk about that really, but Nunu in 3-8 is very strong if you want to control buffs early, and it wasn't banned or picked in the first game.
Yeah.
It's typically banned a lot in the LCS these days because of the early control that it gives you.
But we may not see a Nunu after all. It could be Kennen and Thresh. I mean, the thing is all these bans against home, that's letting Thresh get through, and Kennen, a bit of an oversight, still an extremely strong champion in Korea.
And we know Om is a great Kennen player from the playoffs. We did see a lot of Kennen bans against Om for the rest of the playoffs after he won 3 games against KT Rolster B playing Kennen.
Yeah.
And he's very good at positioning and very good at engaging and peeling for Imp with Kennen. He's not a split-pushing, dueling Kennen like we see a lot of Kennens kind of move towards in Korea. He is a team fight, peel-based Kennen that really helps Imp and Dade maximize their killing potential.
Almost like the Zangief of the Korean scene, right? He's just like slow, he bides his time, and then he grabs you and pile drives you into the ground.
It's too true, and there's the rise again for Dade.
Yeah, I like it. Did well last game, why not? We do have Jarvan and Zyra picked up for Xenics Blast. Zyra, of course, still very, very strong, and Jarvan as well. I mean, just a big group of strong champions. Maybe a Varus pickup, actually, for Imp. And I mean, Varus has been very, very good. A very good utility carry, which isn't something we see him play as much, but he's so popular right now in Korea. And I mean, with Dade, you've still got plenty of damage.
Right, that's not going to be an issue. We'll see a more damage, or I should say mana-oriented build.
Yeah.
We did see Dade itemizing a bit more tanky early, but it'll change in this game. But they're going for more AoE CC if they lock in this Varus pick, because that's really going to allow Dade to do the most.
Right.
AoE CC, tons of it right now for Ozone, and saving their jungle pick for last.
I'm really curious to see who that's going to be, too. I mean,
Eve would be great with this.
I was going to say, I'm wondering if it's going to be someone that's going to put out a little bit more damage. It would make sense.
Eve would be fantastic with this composition.
We know Dandy can definitely play Eve, too. At least, no, Master Yi, maybe. Maybe. Thinking about it. Processing. Nope. Are we actually going to see Malzahar 2 games in a row? We are. Wow. All right, that's brave. There's a Caitlyn pickup, pretty standard stuff, but 2 games in a row of Malzahar. So many reasons, still having a lot of confidence in that, and his team having confidence as well.
The Malzahar-Jarvan combo, when you can stick people into null zone and keep them there for that % HP damage, is very strong. So the AoE CC going to do them a lot of favors between Stranglethorns and Cataclysm.
And I mean, they've got the Zyra ultimate as well, too. So I mean, a lot of A lot of CC. I mean, it's a lot of what we see in Korea. Just a lot of CC. And there's Lee Sin.
Okay.
So not a huge damage champ, but definitely a champion that can cause a lot of plays all through the game.
That's right. And Threshbear is very dangerous in terms of zone control in the lane as well. Meanwhile, we have a more fast push, long range lane in Zyra Caitlyn.
Yeah.
Well, this is gonna be good. And actually, the king in the top going with Jarvan, and it'll be in a jungle at least this time around. So Jarvan becoming more popular. It's run a lot in China. We've seen it kind of creep into NLB in Korea. And now CLG running a Ravenous Hydra build, Jarvan in the top lane for good wave clear and good damage early. And actually, the matchup against Kennen is fantastic for Jarvan. Jarvan is a very strong lane opponent to Kennen.
Let's see. It's like he loves something. Oh, Rumble. He loves Rumble, and I didn't see the rest of that sign. We'll get it later.
This is a great champion matchup because Jarvan can really all-in Kennen very, very well.
Yeah.
And it's pretty easy to pick up solo kills if you're a good top lane Jarvan player.
Well, we'll see what these guys can do in the jungle too. Dandy on Lee Sin, quality on Elise. Taking a page out of Dandy's book actually with his pick in this game. Down in mid lane, we have Dade playing Rise once again. Many reason on Malzahar. Once again himself too, so. You know, it's interesting, we saw Malzahar support in the qualifiers, so he's popping up a little bit more often lately. Imp on Varus this game up against Bang on Caitlyn. And down at the support position, we've got Mata once again on Thresh, winning the MVP for that last game, up against Boink on Zyra. And here we go, guys. Can Xenics Blast tie it up 1-1? Or is Ozone going to go 2-0 in their first series in Champion Summer? Let's get in the game.
There is nothing hotter than a sexy man back and a lot of fire.
When you see sexy flaming men backs, it's time for champion.
Just screams League of Legends to me.
Exactly, it does. Just like our suits.
That's right.
That's right. We're like double rainbow all the way, man.
Yeah, we are. Oh, that's so good.
But what does it mean?
What does it mean?
Ah, too much. So intense. What does it mean? Someone on Twitter, I forget who it was, so apologies for that, said I look like Rainbow Bright's dad, and I feel like that's like the most appropriate description I've heard yet of these suits.
I really think if you guys have seen the movie Death to Smoochie, that if we had bowler hats, we'd look like Robin Williams' character.
We'll work on
Rainbow
that.
Randolph. That's.
Dude, we need champions bowler hats.
You know, if we had
That'd
books.
be so sick, man. I would wear that all the time.
If we had books, we could be reading Rainbow.
We could. Well, I'm reading like my stat sheets right now, so there you go. Rainbow power. Because why not?
That's right.
That's right. We have either no dignity or no shame. One of the two. I'm not quite sure which, but Home's doing like some crunches there. See, that's really good. Kennen's getting a great ab workout. Lee Sin's coaching him. You can tell he's very good with the workout as well.
That's right. Om likes to get fit with Snoopy.
That's right. Rise, not so much, but he's trying out for the Blue Man group, man. He's on the phone with Tobias Fuke.
Oh boy.
He's ready.
Well, we have more standard item builds this game. I'm still not exactly sure what that health crystal start was about for Dandy last time around.
It was weird, but weird is good.
All right, well, we are not going to see the 1v1 matchup between Kennen and Jarvan in this game. Instead,
quality.
Bang and Boink heading into that bot lane. Imp and Mata going up top.
Yeah. Yep, so we're going to have those 2v1s again. We'll see how Stark fares in the top lane.
Kicking the top.
Kicking the top. Kicking the top. That's right.
All right, so Dandy
with his banner.
Dandy walking through the Wraith Ward right there. Excellent early warding from Xenics Blast this game. That's what you really have to do against a champion like Lee Sin that's capable of getting these very early ganks down.
Yeah, well, that ward, I mean, in the Wraith brushes is seemingly becoming standard in just a lot of teams.
Yeah, you don't.
A lot of comps.
You don't always need it. It really depends on the jungler, but really any champion that either exerts a lot of early lane kill pressure like Lee Sin, like Jarvan, or that can exert lane pressure like Nasus. Those are really the core champions, Elise as well with the kill potential. But those are the ones where you really want those wards.
Well, we'll see what they can do with it. I mean, we do have Dandy up in that top lane trying to set up for that first gank, but they've got the lane so far pushed. I mean, it would be quite the dive. Now, obviously, if Mata manages to grab Stark with the death sentence, they can prevent him from bannering out of there, but I don't know. I think we're going to see Dandy probably take a hike pretty soon here. Yeah, he's going to start to recall right now. Not really able to get that opportunity, but a lot of damage done to that top turret already.
Yeah, I mean, the zone potential from Imp and Mata is really huge with Varus and Thresh, and it's going to be difficult for
quality.
Stark to hold this.
Oh, he misses the banner there. They're going to go on to Imp. Luckily, Dandy was still there. It's going to be 3v2. Xenics Blast having to back up there quickly. It's a good thing Dandy stuck around. How does he know?
He knew that the pressure was going to elicit some kind of response from Quality. Probably we can't see it right now, but because that tower's going down faster than the one in bot lane, so he just correctly predicted what was going to happen right there. And that's just another example of Dandy's skill. He got the damage down that he needed to get down, and now he's coming in from behind. Many Reason has no mana.
Many Reason has no idea either. There we go. He hits the Q. Many Reason in trouble now, trying to just get back to the turret as fast as he can. He'll make it. But he's got not a lot of mana, not a lot of health. Quality coming in, though, to try to support a little bit. Dade, he's going to need to back off there. Repel down onto Dade, but look at all the damage on Quality. Oh, Dade! Not the person you really want to be ganking right now.
And they
that
gave
is
him
a
a red
dead
buff.
spider, man.
That's
wow.
Really terrible. You can't, when you have the Sapphire Crystal first rise, he doesn't have a lot of sustain, of course, but he does have an exceptional amount of early burst.
It's a deceptive amount of damage.
He does
actually.
a lot of damage. So you really want to poke that Sapphire Crystal rise. You really don't want to all in him because he will win almost every duel in that situation.
Well, Dandy coming down to the bot lane. Try to support Home a little bit. Home's been really pushed back pretty hard, although he has gotten about even CS with Stark. So those 2v1s having about the same effect on the mid laners, so no big deal either way. But I feel like Kennen, again, is one of those champions like Rumble, where you don't necessarily need a lot of CS, need a lot of items. His abilities are going to have the same effect you want in team fights either way. Damage is kind of like a bonus, you know?
Yeah. Yes, I would tend to agree. Well, that top turret going down quite quickly. Bang and Boink surprisingly not able to do a lot with Zyra and Caitlyn. I wish we had seen more of what was going on in this bottom lane with Home, because this is a lane that's very hard to stop from taking your turret, but they couldn't quite pull it out. Now the first damage going down to top turret as well.
You know, the question you always have to have in these types of situations in these games too is that at what point, you know, are the nerves going to maybe start to affect Xenics Blast? Because they know they're going up against the reigning champions. They're down a game. Even though it was a fairly close game, they're still down a game. So are the nerves going to affect them? I mean, we haven't seen a lot of games from them yet, so we'll see. We'll see if it kind of emerges here. Hopefully for their sake it doesn't, but it does sometimes.
Yeah, and as we move into the mid game too, MVP Ozone again looking really for team fights here.
Oh yeah.
They're looking to group up and do those 5v5s. And coming out of the playoffs that they had, especially the finals where they were working with a really interesting assassination split push composition against Blaze, now they've kind of transitioned